Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moten.
And I'm Darla Miles. Here are the top 5 things you need to know this Monday. Number 1, the impeachment showdown in Washington.
The clock is ticking toward President Trump's impeachment, but even before the House votes this week, Democrats have now released a list of possible witnesses for a trial next month in the Senate.
They want former National Security Advisor John Bolton, as well as the acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, to testify during the trial. Meanwhile, one Democrat who imposes impeachment is expected to switch parties and become a Republican.
Number 2, a deadly storm is expected to arrive in the Northeast around noon today.
It's now moving slowly out of the Midwest, with snow falling this morning from Missouri to the Ohio Valley. The storm has already caused hundreds of crashes and briefly shut down some major highways. And there's potential today for tornadoes from Louisiana to Alabama.
On to number 3, a change of heart by Hallmark.
Just days after its decision to pull a commercial showing a same-sex couple kissing, the cable network now says it made the wrong decision and will reinstate the ad.
The change of heart comes after swift backlash from celebrities and LGBTQ advocacy groups.
On to number 4, a special moment at the Kennedy Center honors that aired last night involving Tom Hanks.
He reprised his role of Forrest Gump to honor Sally Field, who of course played his mom in the classic movie.
Hi, Mama.
Meanwhile, last night, Earth, Wind & Fire became the first black group ever inducted. Other honorees were Linda Ronstadt, Sesame Street, and conductor Michael Tilson Thomas.
And finally, number 5, the Raiders party is all over in Oakland.
Yeah, the Silver and Black were looking good against the Jaguars in their final game, home game in the Oakland Coliseum. But then Jacksonville spoiled the party, scoring 2 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Oakland's notorious fans booed quarterback Derek Carr and threw trash on the field after the game. The Raiders lost 20-16. They're moving to Las Vegas next season.
And meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills are heading to the playoffs after beating the Steelers 17-10 last night. This is the first time the Bills have won 10 games in a season since 1999.
And so they were overdue. And a stunning upset Sunday, the Falcons beat the 49ers. Replay confirmed this catch by Julio Jones with 2 seconds left was a touchdown. That means San Francisco drops down to the wild card position in the playoff race. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. And look who I've got sitting next to me. This is Darla Miles. And people in New York City, they know this woman very well. But across the country, I've got to tell y'all that this is the one right here. This is like the main journalist that I look up to, who is like veteran journalist who knows her stuff, working here at WABC. So thank you for joining us and being filling in here on It's Morning America.
I mean, anything for you, Kenneth. We go back to North Carolina.
Early 2000s. We worked
2000s.
together at different, she was at the good station.
WTVD, ABC, of course
yeah.
It was a great station.
Yeah,
but you know what? You earned your stripes, and look at where you are now. You're with ABC now.
Working with Darla.
That's right.
It.
I love it.
Well, it's great to have you here on It's Morning America. Let's get right to that big story this morning. The looming impeachment of President Trump, now just days away. Democrats looking ahead to the trial in the Senate are hoping to hear from at least 4 key witnesses, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
Meanwhile, one Democrat in Congress opposes impeachment, and he is now expected to jump ship and become a Republican.
ABC's Inez de la Cortara has the new details from Washington. Inez, good morning.
Good morning, Kenneth and Darla. As the impeachment process in the House wraps up, lawmakers are now turning their focus to the impending Senate trial, debating the terms for what will likely become the next partisan battleground. With the full House set to vote this week to impeach President Trump, lawmakers in the Senate are looking ahead to an all but certain Senate trial. In a letter, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer outlining his party's offer for what he calls a fair bipartisan process, pushing for testimony from White House officials who have direct knowledge of what happened in Ukraine. Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton, Michael Duffy, and Robert Blair, who all refused to participate in the House investigation.
I am clearly made up my mind. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I have disdain for the accusations in the process, so I don't need any witnesses.
Democrats slamming Republicans for saying they are in total coordination with the White House and arguing senators are supposed to render impartial justice.
I hope that the senators will insist on getting the documents, on hearing from the witnesses, on making up their own mind.
Meanwhile, a group of freshman House Democrats are encouraging House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to appoint independent Congressman Justin Amash as an impeachment manager to help argue Democrats' case in the Senate, hoping the Libertarian will appeal to a broader portion of the public. As for President Trump, he's venting about impeachment on Twitter, calling Pelosi crazy and writing her teeth were falling out of her mouth during a press conference. And the House vote is expected to be held on Wednesday. Impeachment is expected to pass along party lines, but not all Democrats are on board. There are some lawmakers who are running for re-election in red districts who find themselves in a tricky position. And at least one of them, Congressman Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey, he is speaking out against impeachment. He's even considering switching parties, causing 5 of his staffers to resign. Kenneth and Darla.
All right, Inez, thank you. We appreciate it.
You know, and as Inez mentioned, Van Drew's switching sides likely will not affect Democrats' ability to pass the articles of impeachment, but it could shake their confidence. Here's ABC's Brad Milkey with the latest.
Hey, that's right. You know, as of right now, the date to circle on your calendar is this Wednesday. That is the earliest a potential House impeachment vote might go down. And you would think that President Trump would be dreading that, right? Well, some Democrats might be dreading it too. Assuming no Republicans cross over, and so far none appear to, Democrats appear to be able to lose up to 17 votes and still win a majority. But there's a lot of pressure on those in Trump districts, so much so that Democrats might see more than half a dozen defections. And over the weekend, we learned Democrat Jeff Van Drew, who has spoken out in the past against impeachment, might even switch parties over this. Talked to ABC's political director Rick Klein. He says this does not shake up the math, but it could shake confidence.
This is a Democratic member, a freshman Democrat from New Jersey, who frankly is worried about a primary challenge because he might vote against impeachment, and he is widely expected to go and become a Republican. And it's no small irony if the only party casualty out of this is a Democrat who becomes a Republican. This whole the whole political argument for impeachment, Brad, in addition to all of the policy reasons to do it, is that this would put pressure on Republicans to try to defend what Democrats said was indefensible. Now, as we stand close to a very likely impeachment, to have a party switch go D to R is really striking.
Now, meanwhile, those in the Senate are starting to get their game plans together for a potential trial. You remember how Republicans in the House wanted to call Hunter Biden to testify? Well, now Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's got some witnesses he would like to call, including Mick Mulvaney and John Bolton, 2 key officials who were actually blocked from testifying by the White House. We will see how this shakes out. We'll have a lot more on Start Here later this morning. Listen on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. Kenneth, Darla?
All right, Brad, thank you.
A U.S. military statement from Afghanistan says no orders have been received about reducing troop levels there. However, the Trump administration is reportedly getting ready to announce a drawdown of thousands of Americans. There's no word when any U.S. withdrawal could begin. Currently, there are between 12 and 13,000 U.S. troops in Afghanistan. Any reduction in American force levels would likely take months to accomplish.
And following the deadly shootings at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida, the Navy is under pressure to increase security. Dozens of Navy pilots have reportedly written a letter demanding they be allowed to carry guns while they are on base. The attack is being treated as terrorism, and the FBI is seeking the Saudi gunman's motive. 3 people were killed in that attack.
The military has launched an investigation into hand gestures in the stands at Saturday's Army-Navy football game in Philadelphia.
At least 4 students from West Point and the Naval Academy were spotted making hand signs that could be associated with white power. It happened on live TV during a pregame interview on ESPN. The Naval Academy says based on findings of the investigation, those involved will be held accountable.
A desperate search is underway in Texas for a mother who vanished with her 2-week-old baby. 33-year-old Heidi Broussard and her infant daughter were last seen Thursday. She dropped off her son at school in Austin but never came back to pick him up. Police believe Broussard and the baby returned home before they went missing. Now her fiance is pleading for their safe return.
She would never disappear. She is an amazing mom. She'll never. We have a 6-year-old son named Salish, a beautiful kid. She would never leave him. I just want her home safe. It doesn't have to be here. Just drop her off somewhere safe.
Shane Carey says nothing was missing from their home and there was no sign of a struggle.
Presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg is being forced to deal with allegations that he made lewd and sexist comments in the past. Among the accusations, a female employee claimed in a lawsuit that Bloomberg told her to kill it in response to her pregnancy announcement. Bloomberg denied that allegation. His campaign says Bloomberg now realizes some of what he has said is disrespectful and wrong. At least 17 women have taken legal action against Bloomberg's company. 3 named him specifically. None of the cases made it to trial. 3 remain active.
Dozens of women who accuse Harvey Weinstein of sexual misconduct are reacting with anger after Weinstein spoke to the New York Post. The former movie mogul says he feels like a forgotten man and says he's made more movies directed by women and about women than any other filmmaker in history. The interview comes just after a $47 million civil settlement that made headlines, and a lawyer for Weinstein's accusers released a statement saying Weinstein's latest public relations stunt on the eve of his criminal trial provides even more motivation to continue to prosecute the claims that will expose him for who he is.
And in sports, the New England Patriots producer responsible for the controversial video of the Cincinnati Bengals sideline has reportedly been suspended. He says the video was intended only for a documentary, not for the football staff. Fox Sports aired some of the footage Sunday. The league is expected to penalize the Patriots for recording the video. Well, coming up, the latest from North Korea, why the U.S. is dismissing Kim Jong-un's end-of-year deadline.
Plus, the breaking news overnight, a big reversal by the Hallmark Channel after dropping a commercial that shows 2 women kissing. After this. Welcome back. We now turn to the breaking news overnight about the Hallmark Channel.
The cable network now admits it made the wrong decision when it refused to run ads that feature 2 women kissing. Will Gans explains why Hallmark has changed its mind.
This morning, a change of heart from the network that calls itself the heart of TV.
We're here to help you have the best Christmas ever.
After the Hallmark Channel pulled this ad featuring a same-sex couple kissing on their wedding day.
We do.
A conservative group, 1 Million Moms, took issue with the ad campaign. And more than 40,000 people signed this petition telling Hallmark the ad didn't align with the network's, quote, family-friendly content. Hallmark's decision to pull the ad prompting social media backlash. Ellen DeGeneres tweeting, "Isn't it almost 2020? What are you thinking?" And presidential candidate Mayor Pete Buttigieg saying, being family-friendly means honoring love, not censoring difference. The company behind the ad, Zola, a popular wedding website service, telling ABC News it had an agreement with Hallmark to air 6 commercials, including this one.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
Initially, Hallmark's parent company stood by their decision, saying in a statement the ads were distracting from the purpose of our network, which is to provide entertainment value. But this morning, they've changed their mind and will reinstate the commercial. Hallmark CEO Mike Perry saying in a statement to ABC, "Our mission is rooted in helping all people connect, celebrate traditions, and be inspired to capture meaningful moments in their lives. We are truly sorry for the hurt and disappointment this has caused." The network working with GLAAD, the LGBTQ rights group, to make their decision.
Our thanks to Will. Zola saying in a statement overnight they are, quote, relieved to see that decision was reversed. We are humbled by everyone who showed support not only for Zola, but for all of the LGBTQ couples and families who expressed their love on their wedding day and every day.
Let's turn to North Korea demanding major relief from sanctions and setting a deadline of the end of the year. The U.S. dismissed that deadline and says the North should come back to the bargaining table. Let's go across the pond now to our foreign correspondent, Julia McFarland in the London Bureau. Julia, and also let me introduce you to Darla Miles, who is a legend here in the States.
Darla, hey, it's lovely to work with you. Love to meet people from WABC. It's such an amazing station. You guys always have been so friendly to me, and when I was in New York, everyone at the WABC team was so warm and friendly and welcoming. So really love working with you.
Likewise, I've seen your cover at the Royal Family, so you're so beautiful.
She likes the Royals.
Oh,
she loves the Royals, doesn't she?
So pretty. So thank you, Julia. And smart as well, obviously.
Yep.
Sharing the love.
Yeah, a lot of love here. So, Julia, what do you know here?
Yeah, so let me just bring you back the context of this end-of-year deadline. What's been happening is that North Korea, they've stepped up their weapons testing recently, and particularly last week. They want the U.S. to concede and to release some of those sanctions by the end of the year. Now, they have warned that if the U.S. does not do that, they will, quote, go another way, adopt a new way, and that the U.S. can expect a Christmas gift if it does not comply. A very ominous warning there from the North Koreans. Now, the U.S. Envoy to North Korea, Stephen Biegun, he arrived in Seoul yesterday over the weekend. And he has issued a call to Pyongyang to come for talks. He says that we are here, let's get this done. Let me speak directly to our counterparts in North Korea. It's time for us to do our jobs. You know how to reach us. Now, there's a bit of a deadline on this because he leaves to go to Tokyo tomorrow. He's hoping that he might be able to speak to some representatives from North Korea to try and hash out some kind of agreement because, of course, all this heightened rhetoric about this end-of-the-year ominous deadline issued by Pyongyang.
Also, Julia, let's check in on the aftermath of the big election there in the UK. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party winning a landslide of support. Where does that leave the opposition?
Right, so today a very happy Prime Minister Boris Johnson is getting ready to welcome 109 new Conservative MPs to Parliament. They're going to get ready to take their seats. They've had training over the weekend. They've been shown around the committee rooms preparing for this. Now, a lot of those new MPs, they have come from the opposition left-wing Labour Party. And all through the last couple of days, ever since the results of the election last week, there has been a huge fallout in the Labour Party and a lot of bitter infighting about what to do. Now, it's emerged that Jeremy Corbyn, who has been a historically unpopular leader of the Labour Party, a lot of voters on the doorstep and in polls have cited him with the reason why they changed their vote to vote for the Conservatives. And actually, it's really interesting, guys, because the US, I've noticed, paid a lot of attention to the results of the election. A lot of people wondering if Jeremy Corbyn's huge failure has any lessons to be learned for the Democrats and who they should choose as their candidate for president. And I just want to pull out this quote from Stephen Bannon in the New York Times. Have a look at this. Brexit and Trump were inextricably linked in 2016, and they are inextricably linked today. Johnson foreshadows a big Trump win. Working class people are tired of their betters in New York, London, Brussels, telling them how to live and what to do. Corbyn, his socialist program, not Corbyn the man, got crushed. If Democrats don't take the lesson, Trump is headed for a Reagan-like 1984 victory. Guys?
So could be something to learn there. Julie, before you go, I didn't hear you mention anything about Lord Buckethead.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he may be leader of the Conservative Party, but he was also in the election, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, fighting for his own seat in Uxbridge. And he faced some stiff competition there. As you see, his opposition candidates there, he's got Lord Buckethead, Count Binface, and Elmo. And he did actually, Boris Johnson, he did refer to his candidates as a matter of traditional British courtesy. When he won his seat, he said, "I thank my fellow candidates in all their glory. Lord Buckethead, Elmo, forgive me if I don't identify them all." Now, this is such a wonderful quirk of British democracy. Anyone who wants to stand for Parliament can. They have to give a deposit of just over $650 to stand. That's all it costs to run for Parliament. And of course, if you get less than 5% of the vote, you lose your deposit. But there has been this funny tradition of these rather odd characters standing against the incumbent Prime Minister in recent elections.
Let's go ahead and call that Elmo a bootleg Elmo, because that was not Elmo right there.
You know, it reminded me of the Times Square characters that we have here in New York.
Right.
You know,
I was going to say, do you guys have any of these people sort of running against?
All in Times Square.
They're in Times Square, but they're not like in front of Congress.
And that's very true. They're not running for office or anything like that.
For $600.
Oh, Julia, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Good to see you, friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's check our notifications now. Starting with one office worker's cubicle transformed into a gingerbread house for the holidays. This video was crazy. It was at a police department in San Diego area. And you had a question earlier. You're like, did this woman, build this herself?
I mean, for me, if I were a manager, I would want to know if she did that on company time.
Right.
You know, was
using
this
company supplies.
Yes. And you know, I would want to eat it.
You know what? Yeah. It's not even edible.
Yes.
So, because we all know if you bring food,
it's a wrap.
Everyone will love you. Everyone will eat it. So that's not even edible there.
Yeah. Let's see how that office conversation goes with her boss about this. Yeah. Okay, Santa may be testing out a new gift delivery system, giving a reindeer a break and parachuting onto a beach in Florida. Next.
Oh yeah, that video right there shows him parachuting right in there to a Florida beach. Where's this reindeer? Where's his sleigh?
You know, there are a lot of questions about this Santa Claus.
He was retired there.
Lots of questions. You know.
And it's very hot in that suit,
Where's
I'm sure.
the chimney?
I know.
And where are the gifts?
He doesn't have any gifts.
He needs the gifts. Who
He's
cares
like-
about the sleigh and the reindeer and the snow?
I am the gift.
I am the gift
Yes,
that keeps
there it is.
giving. Okay, so it's not a secret that not
No.
every couple will find their happily ever after on The Bachelor. So what happens to all those Neil Lane engagement rings? right?
Bachelor alum Becca Kufrin recently revealed on a podcast that producers for the show have a, quote, engagement ring graveyard where they keep all the bling from failed relationships. That is really sad, actually. After 23 seasons of The Bachelor and 15 seasons of The Bachelorette, there could be about 70 rings in that graveyard.
So my first thought about that is like, you know, was it 2 carat, 3 carat, platinum,
How many
gold,
carats?
gold, platinum, yellow gold, white gold, and you know, what kind of, like, where are these rings? That's a lot of bling in one drawer.
Do you think they should auction them off and give the money to charity?
100%.
Or me, since this is all in the company?
Option A, for sure.
We can get raises. We're all in the Disney, ABC family. Give us that bling.
You know, you're going to be our
fellowship
union
money.
spokesperson from this point on.
There it is. Hey, and if you've had trouble with porch pirates, fear no more. A New York man has devised a new invention to stop thieves from taking their packages. It's called the Bob Box. This man is in Brooklyn. These New Yorkers.
New Yorkers always go for it. That's why I love this. But
The
so
Bob
it's made
Box-
out of wood. That's the first
Made
thing.
out of wood. It almost reminds me of like another bootleg reference. Bootleg mailbox.
It's
For
a bootleg mailbox
For the
for-
postal service, you would see.
Well, here's the thing. He's charging $200, and he hasn't
No
sold
one.
a single one.
Not a one.
Until we air this on ABC.
Right.
Hopefully.
But that
Hopefully
is our
not.
question of the day. What tips do you have for dealing with porch pirates? Would you use the Bob Box? Would you pay the $200 for that wood invention? Low tech?
Very low tech, and I guess you're supposed to chain it to your fence.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is also New York. Who has that much space
Oh,
outside of
that's
their
very
front
true.
door?
Tell us in the comments or tweet us at ABC News Live. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think.
Absolutely.
All right, a new Miss World was crowned over the weekend, a moment which marks a historic first.
Yes, our friend Janae Norman explains why this is part of a trend.
Miss World 2019.
Tony Ann Singh from Jamaica is waking up as the newest queen of the world.
Jamaica.
Singh winning the 2019 Miss World pageant after beating out over 100 other contestants over the last several weeks.
I was shocked. I had to take a moment to say they said Jamaica. They said Jamaica, so that means you, and that means get out there.
When the cover girl was crowned, another finalist, Nigeria's Yakachi Douglas, couldn't contain her excitement. First time in history, 5 black women reigned supreme. Tony Ann now rounding out a historic streak set by the winners of the other 4 top beauty pageants, making all 5 of 2019's major pageant queens black women. ABC's Lindsay Davis speaking to 3 of the queens after their crowning moments.
There was a time when we literally could not win. Like literally, the Miss America competition banned black women from competing.
Yeah.
The Miss Universe organization did not crown a black Miss USA until 1990. Like there was no space for us.
Singh, now the 69th winner of the longest-running international beauty pageant, says unity was felt throughout the entire competition.
You realize that even though we're so strong and we're representing our different countries, we also need each other. It's like my eyelashes, India put them on for me. And usually Trinidad would put them on for me.
The college student who majors in women's studies and psychology at Florida State says her mother has facilitated her dream in every way possible. That dream now realized.
Our thanks to Miss Janae there. This is just really incredible when you see 5 black women who are now the reigning pageant queens and they're, you know, obviously for their pageants and whatever competitions. It's just amazing to see.
Well, it is. And if you have read anything about them, they are really smart. They are,
Yes.
you know, lawyers, MBA holders, and just, you know, fabulous.
I know. I was smitten with Miss Universe there from South Africa, and I saw her skin regimen. I need to know that because it's quite flawless.
It is flawless, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Miss USA, her curls are like
curls.
money in the bank.
Yep.
Money
Yep,
in the
definitely.
bank. They're beautiful. Miss Jamaica, I know Jamaicans here in New York will be really proud of that.
Yep, rooting her on for quite some time. All right, well, coming up, we'll check in on the 2020 candidates on the campaign trail.
Plus, the celebration uniting a town on the anniversary of a national tragedy. All of that after this.
Here's what to watch out for today. President Trump is scheduled to have lunch with Vice President Mike Pence before participating in a roundtable discussion on a governor's initiative involving regulation. And then the president and first lady will host Christmas receptions at the White House.
Democrats running for president are on the campaign trail. Former Vice President Joe Biden is here in New York for a fundraiser. Senator Elizabeth Warren is set to hold a town hall in Iowa. And Senator Bernie Sanders will attend the opening of his campaign office in Coachella.
Plus, don't forget to tune into the debrief for an update on all our top stories in the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics. Coachella?
You know,
is he going to headline
here's
a
the
festival
thing.
too?
You've got to reach the masses, so you go where they are.
Gonna have Beyonce there? We'll see.
We'll see.
We will
Have you
see.
been to Coachella?
I've never been to Coachella.
I don't even.
But I watched it religiously when there was a certain performance, maybe like a year ago or so.
No surprise there.
None whatsoever. This is just an inspirational story to really end us on here on It's Morning America for the Monday. On Saturday, Newtown, Connecticut marked 7 years since the Sandy Hook massacre left 26 people dead, including 20 children.
Saturday night, Newtown High School played for the state's football title, and with 3 seconds left in the game, it was a tie game, mind you. Jack Street launches a pass towards the end zone, and then Riley Ward hauls it in. Newtown then wins the game 13-7 and takes the first state title in 27 years.
27 years on that day. When I heard about the details over the weekend, it just gave me chills.
You know, anything that can brighten a smile in that community in perpetuity. So it doesn't matter how long it's been since the Newtown tragedy. We always want to see good things coming out of there,
Definitely.
positive things.
We salute them, and we're always thinking about them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. Well, that is it for us. Again, great to have Darla Miles. And guess what? She's coming back tomorrow for It's Morning America. How about that?
That's right. I'll be ready. I'll be rested.
Here we go. All right. Have a great day, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Take care.